Hey guys, what's up? So today, this is a very informal video that is somewhat educational, but you should still look up everything that I talk about just to make sure. But it's more of like an emotional, like, why is this happening type of thing. So if you guys didn't know, the IPCC report just came out like 2 days ago. I want to say it came out on Monday. It's a special report because typically they only do it every couple of years, and I want to say the last one that they did was in 2013, and so they weren't really due for another one, but they were like, let's tell you what's messed up with the world right now. So I think that of all the things that were said on there, which I will definitely be linking, or sorry, not linking, well, I'll be linking the IPCC report in the description below, but I'll also be showing a couple graphs. Let me like scoot over so I can insert them better here to talk about like why this is so messed up. And I'm also going to be referring back to the silencing tracker because this shit is ridiculous. So one of the biggest takeaways from the new IPCC report is that we basically have 12 years, like, starting now. Like, if we were to start freaking today, October 9th at 9:03 p.m., and in 12 years from now, in order to completely, like, reverse the worst effects of climate change that we can possibly experience, we would have to, like, switch 100% to renewable energy the second. Like, at 9:04. We would have to switch everything and completely switch to renewable energy and all of that stuff. And like, I think that's ridiculous. I mean, I think it's ridiculous for the fact that we're like nowhere near doing that, because as we speak, the EPA is, and like the Trump administration are trying to roll back like legislation that's meant to protect us. And honestly, like, everything just irritates me because it's so frustrating how like powerless you feel just reading like how the world is pretty much fucked and there's like nothing we can do about it other than vote, which only happens every so years. And then on top of that, everything that just happened with like the Kavanaugh thing, and like all I'm gonna say about that is, if you were innocent as you claim, wouldn't you want a fair FBI investigation without like select witnesses that can testify? Like, I just thought, like, even if he was falsely, even if he was falsely accused, like, wouldn't you want a fair trial? Wouldn't you want every person that she named to say that she's lying? Like, that just didn't make sense to me. But like, on top of that, and like the fair process, it wasn't fair. Like, I don't give a shit, it wasn't fair. But now I've made a video about this, which I'll also link below, a while ago, and there's already been so many things added to it, and I'm gonna be reading it off my phone, so like if I'm looking down, that's why. And so on top of all of this stuff that the IPCC just reported about how we have 12 years to reverse the worst effects of climate change, because we are literally like heading towards 1.5 degrees Celsius, which like 1.5 degrees sounds like not that much until you think about the fact that that's in Celsius. So most people in the US only conceptualize temperature in degrees Fahrenheit. So when we talk about 1.5 degrees Celsius, you have to understand that that means 34.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Like, there is a significant difference between what you conceptualize in Fahrenheit and Celsius, and like, I understand that because I also, like, most of my homework and most of the assignments that I have to do are in meters, and it's so hard for me to conceptualize meters because like all I know is that there's 3 miles in a 5K, and like I can't do the math mentally every time that I see something about Celsius or meters or whatever it is. But I take the time to go on Google and search the conversion factor, because even if you deny climate change, you can't deny that Google is a fucking tool that you can use. Now, anyways, before I get too off track, I want to talk about the silencing tracker, because like I swear if this was like something I could get notifications sent to my phone, it would always be beeping. I'm honestly just gonna name like a couple of the things on here, and I'll just like put a picture here of the description of them, so if you want to like read further into depth about it, and also like obviously like link this down below. So, references to climate change removed from an EPA document. EPA's Office of the Science Advisor to be closed. Climate change omitted from National Biodefense Strategy. References to climate change removed from NPS report. References of climate change removed from EPA regulatory impact analysis. Climate science misrepresented by Oregon State Senator. References to climate change removed from report of Vermont Natural Resources Board. Public communication by NPS scientists restricted. NPS scientists avoiding discussion of climate change. USDA scientists prevented from researching politically conscientious topics. So obviously, like, I could go further into depth about like all of these, but I just want to point out that Vermont and Oregon are two of the most green states in the US, and both of them are on this list for misrepresenting or removing things about climate change. And like, that just proves that no state is perfect. Like, as much as they are doing like good initiatives, they're not perfect. They're not like solving the world's problems. In fact, right now they're hiding them. So like, they're almost at like 100% green, and now that they're like almost there, they're just hiding everything that's like contradicting what they want to do. And like, on top of that, removing the word climate change from documents that are specifically like to report on climate change, you can't get rid of a problem by denying it. You know what North Carolina fucking tried to do? They tried to outlaw climate change from their zoning laws. And what the fuck happened to them? First of all, none of the homes that are on the coast are like built to withstand what just happened. Second of all their pig farms that were within that state, which there is a lot, like if you wanted to know where your meat comes from, most of it comes from little like metal fucking pens that have zero access to the sunlight, where the animals are literally trapped in there their whole entire lives. They piss and shit on the floor. The floor has like some type of like floor where their feces and their urine like irrigates out of the building and into a lake that's on the side, which I'll just show a picture here. And those lakes are are let out on the sprinklers every day. So if you live downwind from these, you're affected by them. And because they weren't up to code in how like anything should be, first of all, a lot of the animals died. Second of all, when all the flooding occurred, guess what's getting into the homes now? Feces and urine from these animals. On top of that, their coal ash plants weren't up to like par with what the standards should have been in order to prepare for a flood of that level. So now all of these homes are being drowned in piss, shit, and coal ash. So if you want to keep denying climate change as something that's actually real and actually happening, you can end up with pig shit, piss, and coal ash in your home that is now flooded under who knows how many meters of water. Like, yes, I understand some places are going to be more impacted than others due to climate change, to show you what the differences are. And the colors mean that like certain the colors indicate which regions of the world are more susceptible and vulnerable to climate change. And it's sad that it's not it's not the US. And like, by that, I mean that we are the ones that are creating most of the problem for most of the other countries that are visually going to be suffering from issues like this, and yet we're not going to take the blame. And then half of the people in the US are freaking, or I guess less than half, but you know what I mean, are denying the fact of its existence when we are the sole contributor to it. I mean, okay, China does pollute a lot. China has shitty air quality. China exports a lot, this, but like, who's making them export? Who's telling them to make our clothes, our like gadgets, our technology? It's greedy US billionaires who want to pass off the cost of production into a country that doesn't have as many like regulations for their workers' rights or for anything in that matter. Like, that's the main reason that jobs left the US. Can you guys stop? That's the main reason that jobs left the US, because billionaires wanted to save money, or maybe millionaires who became billionaires after, wanted to save money on production costs and employee costs. And because we want a higher standard of living and we want to be able to make more money, they can't adequately pay for our salaries. Not even if it was minimum wage, they don't want to pay that much. So they send the jobs off to another country, whether it be China or like, honestly, I can't give another example. I know China for sure, maybe Africa, maybe Indonesia. Like, the only one I know like for certain is China again. So that's the only one I could speak about. But like, so all of this degradation of the environment that's going on is because of money. Literally, there's no other reason. And the like dumb thing is that there's a lot more money in conservation than there is in degradation. The only difference is that when you go with the route of degradation, you're able to make a lot of money for like a short period of time, and then when all of that runs out, you can degrade another piece of land and degrade another piece of land and just keep making a fortune on that, while like making this like piece of land that you started off with completely unusable, completely degrading all of its resources, and now it has to wait so long for it to be able to recover from this. Honestly, like, there's a lot of things that have been heavy on my mind, and I just wanted to sit down and talk about them because I feel like no other person wants to have this conversation with me. And so, before I get too like riled up in this, please have a awesome night. And I don't even know what to say. There's still more that I have to say about this, so I'm like cutting it short for the purposes of you moving on with your life, you know? But yeah, so let me stop talking, like for real this time. Alright, have a good night. Don't forget to hug a tree. You can see where she looked me. Don't forget to go hug a tree and have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye!